In this video, we are going to be talking about viruses. Now, before we can start talking about viruses right away, there are a few things you need to know about cells in order to understand viruses, especially animal cells. Animal cells are made up of many different organelles, such as the endoplasmic reticulum and the nucleus. They have a cytoplasm, which is a jelly-like substance in which all the organelles reside, and they also have a cell membrane, which covers the outside of the cell. Now that we have a basis for animal cells, let's talk about viruses and compare the structure of the two. First, you must be wondering what exactly is a virus. Usually when people hear the word, they relate it to sickness or computers, but that is not what we're going to be covering in this video. We will, however, be talking about the structure of viruses, exactly how they are able to infect people, and their possible medical uses. So to start off, a virus is an organism that can replicate only inside the cells of another organism, or a host. Viruses can infect the cells of animals, plants, bacteria, and archaea. Unlike animal cells, viruses do not have a cytoplasm, they don't have organelles, and they don't have a cell membrane. Viruses cannot reproduce or grow on their own, they cannot produce on their own, they can't produce or use energy on their own, and they create waste. Viruses require a host cell in order to carry out these processes. Viruses contain their genetic material, either DNA or RNA, inside a capsid, which can be referred to as the shell of a virus. The capsid is made out of protein, and it protects the virus from being attacked by the host cell's enzymes. It also helps the virus attach itself on specific receptors on the host cell, but we'll talk about that a little later. Viruses can come in a variety of shapes and sizes. There are four main types of viruses, and they are spherical, polyhedral, helical, and complex. A complex virus has a tail attached to a base plate with tail fibers that come out of it. It also has a neck to hold up the capsid. A helical virus has a coil of DNA or RNA inside, surrounded by proteins. And finally, a polyhedral virus is surrounded by an envelope that has proteins on it. Now, let's talk about how a virus attaches itself to a host cell. Well, first, the virus must enter the host cell. The proteins on the virus will interlock with the receptor sites on its host cell. This is like two pieces of a puzzle fitting together. Only certain pieces fit with each other, and in that same way, viruses are host-specific, meaning they can only infect certain types of organisms, depending on the virus. And finally, the virus replicates. Viruses become active only when their genetic material has entered and taken control of a cell. The process in which a virus infects a cell, replicates, and destroys the cell is referred to as the infectious cycle. There are two ways in which a virus can infect a cell. The first way is known as a lytic cycle. In the lytic cycle, the viral DNA destroys the host cell's DNA and immediately constructs the host cell to make copies of the viral DNA and capsid. The capsid and DNA come together to form more viruses, and the host cell bursts to release the viruses. The second way is known as the lysogenic cycle, where the DNA is not replicated but rather integrated into the host cell's DNA. The host cell itself continues to grow and divide, as cells do, all the while making copies of that viral DNA. As a result, more than one cell has the viral DNA in it. The viral DNA remains dormant for a period of time, which is known as a lysogeny or provirus stage, until there is a change in the cell's environment. Then, the cell enters the lytic cycle. Believe it or not, viruses are used in vaccinations. Our bodies have antibodies that help fight off infections. They bind with a molecule on an invading germ and signal our white blood cells to kill the germ. Our immune system remembers the germ and creates antibodies for it. If that same germ re-enters our body, they will recognize it and destroy it immediately. When we are given vaccines, we are actually given a tiny amount of virus of that germ, which our bodies will create antibodies for, and it will kill the germ. As a result, if that virus ever enters our body again, our antibodies will recognize it and destroy it immediately. I personally find this very fascinating because I thought that viruses were always a bad thing. When I was younger, I would get sick because of viruses, but now I'm learning that viruses are also responsible for preventing me from becoming sick. I'm very interested to see how else viruses can be of use to humans. Could they possibly infect cancer cells and destroy them in a way that doesn't harm the body?
Created using Powtoon.